Hello, everyone. My name is David Reed for Dial the Gate, the Stargate Oral History Project. Adam Cahill has been developing AI artwork for us on our sister channel, Wormhole X-Tremists. His wife, Evie, is one of my co-hosts. And as we're rewatching the show, 2 episodes a week, Adam sends us over a piece of AI artwork he has been developing for each episode. And it's a lot more complicated, let me tell you, than just typing Stargate and getting a Stargate. So for this episode, we're going to be going over seasons 3 and 4 of Stargate SG-1 as we've just completed season 4, and we're going to see what he has in store. If you watched our episode with Adam for seasons 1 and 2, you can see how he started off in the process and has moved his way forward. And the technology has continued to grow, which is one of the reasons I like documenting this, because the complexity of the software that he uses is continuing to evolve. So we're also watching that as well. So let's go ahead and bring in Adam Cahill and take a look at his artwork that was inspired by seasons 3 and 4 of Stargate SG-1. Adam Cahill, artist, is joining me on another episode of Dial the Gate. You have been leveraging, and you're a Stargate fan. You have been leveraging AI to create artwork. How long now, Adam?
Ooh, I think it's 2 years. I think the Stable Diffusion's only been out for 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think 2 years. Yeah.
And what I am looking forward to seeing most, and asking you to kind of preface this so that as you know we move forward with this this art, is how quickly the technology is evolving, how slow the technology is evolving, what's still driving you nuts, what has blown your mind, what doesn't blow your mind anymore, and all of the above.
Oh, where do I begin?
Right.
I guess it's probably in the last maybe 6 to 8 months, it's probably stagnated a little bit. There hasn't been a lot of movement. Well, that's not entirely true. There's been movement in a lot of commercially available AI, but it costs dollars and money, and
Is it superior? The ones that cost dollars and money, is it really that superior?
I've played around with them a little bit, but I don't want to be spending monthly amounts on this stuff. So out of interest, I go and take a look. I think DALL-E 3 has good. I think they're getting better at understanding what you're asking for, but like prompt coherence, and understanding what you're trying to go for. So I think that's good. There's been more of a focus on making AI videos at the moment. A lot of companies have been bringing out
really
AI
creepy.
videos.
Really
yeah,
creepy.
well, some
of them are brilliant.
Some of them are really good now. Yeah, so but from Stable Diffusion, who are the only open AI, well, probably the biggest open source AI group, which releases their models for free and you can use them for free, have sort of probably stagnated a little. I think they're meant to be releasing version 3 of their latest AI, but I haven't seen it yet. So, but yeah, from the image perspective, I think there's only been minor improvements. Certainly from last time we did this, from season 2 of Stargate onto season 3, there's been some big improvements in some minor technologies, which I can go through later. But in terms of big leaps and bounds, there haven't been much in the image side of things at the moment.
Interesting. Okay. Have you attempted any video creation?
I haven't, no.
Okay.
Mainly because it costs a lot of GPU power to do. So if I wanted to run it locally on my computer, I just don't have enough power. And I haven't really, I don't know, it hasn't really taken my fancy, really. I'm not so I haven't really messed with that yet on a commercial, like from a commercially available AI of some description yet.
Yeah, to be continued.
Yeah, to be continued.
The horsepower will not always be, as required as it is, and the in-house computers, they just keep getting more powerful. So I've had someone creating artwork with ship models at the beginning of each of these Dial the Gate episodes, and they can render in some cases 1 day, some cases 2 days. What I can't imagine what the length of time it took to render some of these shots 20 years ago. So just wild.
Yeah. The technology will definitely come along. It always does. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm running I think it's a 3-year-old GPU. So
Okay. Yeah, me too.
yeah. So yes, unfortunately, if I wanted to upgrade, it'd be like 2 grand, I think, for a
Ugh.
4080 or 4090 or whatever they called now. So
Well, let's take a look at what you've got. You've been creating content for us since we started things up on Wormhole Extremists. And for those who
mm,
aren't in that sphere so much, I wanted to bring you on to have us go through your process. There is a process to this, to creating and refining and refining and refining, taking parts of images, cutting and pasting, and seeing how things worked for seasons 3 and seasons 4.
yeah, well,
Season 3 and 4.
three and four, yeah.
Right, exactly.
All right, so do you want me to share my
Yeah.
screen? All right. So this is for season 3, episode 1. You might actually be able to see it in the top
Yeah, guys see the
corner there. So
number. Okay.
yeah, so this
Interesting.
is just a draft. So this for me, this episode was always about Jack coming out of the walking down the path and in front of all the Jafar and the Gold who weren't sure whether he had turned or not. Um,
Yeah.
so I was trying to get something like that, and you can kind of see it's kind of done that, but it's put a whole bunch of men over the top of the
I don't know what the side ones are standing on.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, so it was just a little
Interesting.
silly, but that was kind of the idea I wanted to go for. And there's another one here where similar sort of concept, but eventually it wasn't really working, and so I sort of refocused my sort of idea of where I wanted to go. And because the episode is Into the Fire, I eventually came up with this, which is a
Yeah.
silhouette of this guy walking into some sort of fireball, I guess, and it's in a
Right. Yeah.
circular
Like
shape to
Moses
keep it
almost.
Stargate-ish. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Can you go back
um,
one for me?
yeah,
You notice the Night King in the foreground there?
the Night King.
Yeah.
This guy.
Right.
Yeah, again,
He's
I get it.
blue.
Yeah, it just comes up with some weird and wacky stuff sometimes, and you just go, "What the hell?"
Okay, go
So,
forward. I'm sorry.
I know you're right. So the next episode, what was it? Ah, Seth. So, um,
Yes.
I only have one draft, so this is one draft, which this looked a little too Dracula-ish, I guess, or too Rob Zombie, I think, for me.
Yeah. I
Um,
can see the Rob Zombie.
yeah, so eventually I sort of tamed it down a little bit, and we ended up with this one.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
much. Seth is life. That is
Seth is
wild.
life. Yeah. Um, I mean, in hindsight, this probably wasn't too bad because his eyes are glowing. I guess it probably would have been okay, but I sort of tamed it down a little bit and had him sitting on this throne type of deal. So
Yeah, it's less of a dark horse comic. So
yeah. And then the next one, I can't remember the episode name, but uh, what is the episode name? I
when we
know
see
we've
it,
written
it'll
it
come to me.
well,
Okay, so this is fair game.
yeah, there we go. So this
And
this
Asgard
was
writing a treaty.
yeah, so this was one idea that I had of an Asgard writing a treaty, but I was really bothered by the hand here, and couldn't really fix it, so I sort of backed out of the idea. I think I've got another one here where I sort of updated it a little bit. Um, he's gone from having grayish skin to more greenish skin, but his
Oh,
eyes
okay.
are and
Interesting.
I'm trying to fix the hands, but it's not really coming out how I wanted it. So I sort of backed out of that idea and tried this one instead, where I took this is actually a screen
Yeah.
shot of when the 3 gold arrive. So this is probably one of the smaller technologies that are coming through, where you can get the AI to look at an existing image and it will sort of draw an outline of what it sees, and then you can tell it to sort of keep. You can tell it what image you want to see, and then you can kind of tell it to keep the basic form and shape of what you're looking for.
The Stargate
Um,
is interesting.
yeah, so you can sort of adjust the strength as well. So how hard the AI has to stay on that shape,
Okay.
which is why the Stargates probably come out really well. But
Wow.
I probably could have spent more time on this. I think I was just running out of time.
Yeah.
And I needed more to really clean up the faces and maybe make it look a little bit better. But
Yeah, they look
I
like they're
felt
melting.
Yeah, I feel like it was probably too close to the screenshot as well. I don't want to just completely just rip off the screenshot. I want it to be, still genuinely
Of
something
course.
different. So, ended up with this idea instead, with
Yes.
the list of protected planets. Um, it's unfortunate that we didn't have the updated AI that could do words, because otherwise it would have been really cool to, actually have some sort of text along here.
That's
I
come
don't,
later.
yeah, so we get a little bit up in the top left there, but and maybe down the bottom, but yeah, it's just nonsense. I mean, I guess you could call it alien script, and then you
Yeah,
just write
exactly.
that off. So,
Have you
uh,
had any desire to go back to something that you created for and before and throw it at the new one?
um, Not, no, not yet. No,
Okay.
I'm always just kind of like looking forward to the next
Okay.
episodes that we've got going on. So,
Okay.
but no, not yet. So I think the next one is a Daniel heavy episode. There's only one draft here that I sort of did. So I was kind of trying to go with him in the straight jacket, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
the main thing that I remember about him. But this just looked like Daniel wearing a white SGC
Sure
jacket.
does.
You can almost see it almost has the
Yes.
arm badging down the side and everything. I don't know whether I don't think I used another image from the actual show. But I was this was more what I was after, proper straight jacket
Yeah. The
style.
other one looks more like Michael than this one does. I mean, it's pretty obviously the same dude, but I'm really blown away at how much it's figured him out.
Yeah, trying to get his face is difficult. I do have like a little it's not an AI, a full AI model, but it's something that you can train on and tack it onto an AI to tell it this is what this looks like. So someone has trained Michael Shank's face from the Stargate era.
So this is
Um,
not you. This is someone else has done this.
someone else has done this. So someone else has
Okay.
trained, on his face. And so instead of training an entire AI model, which is expensive and costly and takes a lot of, GPU power, you
Yep.
can do these little, I guess, chunks of AI, right? That you then tack on to the main AI so that it knows when I say the word Daniel Jackson, it goes, "Oh, you mean this? Okay."
This
And
guy over here.
yeah, this guy over here. So that's what it's called, a LoRa, an LORA. I think it's all capitals. I think it stands for something, but it's just called a LoRa.
Interesting.
Um, next one is I don't have any drafts for this one. This is just the final image for
Learning curve.
learning curve. Yeah. So the idea was that this was supposed to be like a brain stem, and these are all your nerve endings coming off the end, to represent, the brain and all the learning that the kids take on in such a short
So
span of
it's a
time.
profile of the skull, basically, and the side of the head.
Yeah, sort of. I kind of still wanted it to look like a tree, but
Mm-hmm.
have the idea that it is just, like a brain, and these are, your synapses, sort of thing. But it kind of came out looking like a tree as well. I don't know what the symbolism might mean for that, but it looked good. So I
Mm-hmm.
sort of it was like one of the very first images I had done, and I went, that's perfect. And then just I think I did a little bit of editing, but otherwise it was pretty much as it
It
came out.
flies. Yeah.
Hmm. Then we have the Sam clone. So this is a draft. You're going to have to come up with the episode names for
Point
me.
of view.
Thank you. So this was one of the ideas I had where she was kind of like looking at a mirror, or like looking at herself. So this was kind of one of the ideas that I had. This came out okay as well. It was kind of close to what I was after. But in the end, I went with this one where she's, because I wanted to try and represent both characters, one with the long hair and then one with the short hair. And
Yes.
so got this one in the end, yeah.
So are there merging of shots in this? Is that how you're pulling this off?
No, so it came out pretty good. I sort of it was off the back of the same, I think, prompting for this.
Okay.
But I asked to just have two people, who kind of looked similar, and then I went in and edited, the face here, and then edited the face here. Again, I've got another Laura for Sam,
Okay.
and then just said, make this person look like Amanda Tapping, and similar here, and then I had to clean up the door because the door was kind of like part of her
Melting
arm.
clock. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so it was I had to clean it up, but I didn't end up saving the draft for where I was, cleaning it up.
Yeah, you're not entering text, pressing enter, and then printing out whatever it spits out. There is an evolution to these images, and you have to be selective, and you have to be um, aware of what it is that you're giving it, so that it can adjust.
Yeah, well, I wasn't doing it at the time. I think it wasn't until the start of season 4, but I started saving my progress stuff. So I've got a couple more of those in season 4 where you can see I started here, then added on, and then added on, and then changed and what have
Perfect.
you. So, where are we up to? So the next episode is
Deadman Switch.
there we go, Deadman Switch. So this is one of the drafts of him
Wow.
going
Yeah.
Um, so this one was taken from a screenshot from
Yep.
the exact him, shaking his finger.
Exactly. Yep.
And it came out really well because sometimes with these images, the AI might not see the image all that well, and so when it's tracing out a shape of what you want, it can miss a lot of detail. But with this one, it spat back a lot of detail because it basically spits out an image and says, "This is what I'm seeing," and it's just this black and white image, like a drawing almost of the original image that you put in. And sometimes it comes back with very little detail, or sometimes it'll spit out a lot of detail. So with this one, thankfully, it spat out a lot of detail, and I was able to, um, uh,
Yeah. You
uh,
definitely see the cargo ship in the foreground.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, this one is a progress one actually. This is still a draft, but the final version is this. So if you can notice the
Yeah.
changes, I've got his face actually looking at in the background. I've blown it up obviously, so it's quite small of an image here, and we've made it a bit bigger here. I think the face was really the main change. Oh, and I obviously got rid of the
The
text in the
logo.
bottom
Yeah.
corner here. Yeah, so um,
Well,
yeah,
his costume, when it analyzed it, his costume obviously has a lot of business. There's a lot of stuff going on with it, and
yeah,
I like how it adapted that.
yeah. As I said, it picked up so much detail, so I was able to really just capture it. But again, uh, it's probably, I know I said before that I didn't want to make images that were just based off the screenshots, but I feel
Right.
like this is different enough that it was, it was still not original, but still something new, I suppose.
Yep.
Um, the next episode is this one just called Devil, I think.
Demons.
Demons, yeah. So this was the main image, but I actually found this in my drafts, and I went, why didn't I go with this? Because it looks like a,
Stained
um,
glass.
yeah, that you might
Yeah.
see on a church, right? And and
Yeah.
this thing, this whole
A very
episode
scary
is
church.
yeah. Well, this whole thing has got Christianity vibes in it,
Hmm.
So I don't know why I didn't go with this in the end. This would have been really good, but no, this was the end
Yep.
piece. Um, yeah, I don't know why I
Wow.
didn't go with this. The stained glass window would have been really good, but yeah, for whatever reason I didn't.
No,
But
I like either one. I
yeah,
like either one. Either
yeah,
approach works.
yeah. This guy looks like he's gone in and caused havoc to
He's
the village.
definitely a son of Sokar.
Oh yeah, yeah. Definitely looks more devil-like for sure. Yeah. The next one is this fair game
This
or
is fair game.
got it. So there's a couple of drafts here. So because there are a couple of good options. Because so for me, the episode was always about uh, uh seeing those men out in the field, playing war games.
Hmm.
Right at the start of the episode, that's the first thing that I think about when I think about this particular episode. So I started doing a few images around that. I, used words like, Americana and war images or war paintings, that kind of thing. And
Hmm.
gave me a few good things. This looks more Vietnam really than anything else. And
Interesting
then,
helicopters.
yeah, well, again, they weren't cleaned up, so I
Right. No, I know.
left it as it
I
is.
love seeing the raw stuff. It's like, what will it come up with this?
Yeah, well, yeah. What was it thinking here? So then the next idea I had was, well, I also remember where they had Apophyse's face sort of in the sky, trying to,
Yep.
where they showed that he was dead. So I tried to attempt that, but it,
Interesting. That's very
hey,
godlike.
yeah. So, but I couldn't quite get I didn't include. There was another one where I actually tried to fix up the face in the clouds here, but it really didn't come out right. But this again was taken from a still from the episode.
From the episode. Yep.
So these men are actually, it looks very close to the SGC
Yep.
outfits that they would wear. But in the end, I sort of really changed tack and went with this papercraft thing, which I thought looked really good. And still
Yeah.
This one took a lot of editing. I don't have the progress images for it, but I basically had to fix I had to fix the trees in the background here. I had to fix this guy's head. I had to fix just about all of the guns. I had to fix this guy's helmet. I had to I think this guy was I had to do I think I had to fix this guy's gun. I think I had to fix this guy's like I had to do a lot of editing for this.
What I
Um,
love about most about this technology is that there are so many artistic mediums. Like
hmm.
you can have it do carved stone. You could have it do paper mache. You know, the ones that done out of paper, I think have intrigued me the most, because they're just the light and the shadow, um, is just a wild twist on your brain with making it look three-dimensional.
Yeah. No, I think I might have used the I think I used the Papercraft AI that I have, which I think I've lost throughout adding and changing AI, but I'll have to go back and find it maybe and do
Mm,
another one. But I think I used words like origami and papercraft and
hmm.
what have you. So yeah, no, this one came out really well. I'm actually really happy with this one. Um, so the next episode is I think this is Forever in a Day
That's
with
correct.
a
Wow.
this is a draw. This isn't the one I went with, and in hindsight, I don't know why, because that looks very Daniel.
It
The
does.
clothing is correct. I think my issue was is that Sharae didn't really look like
No.
Sharae. I kind of
Yeah.
wanted to make it look more, because she just she's wearing jeans and a tank top. Like it's just not
This might have
really.
been her in 10 years, and in like if his dream had been allowed to continue, you know.
True, true. And then this was another one. This wasn't too bad either. This was probably
Wow.
Shara would looked a bit more maybe like dressed in maybe what she might wear.
An
But then
Angelina Jolie vibe.
yeah, but then Daniel didn't really look this right, and I think I tried to play with this one and fix it up, but it just wasn't really coming out how I wanted. And so I sort of ended up just settling on this one where it didn't look like either of them, but it still portrayed the message across. Like this of grief basically is what I was
Hmm.
trying to go with. So,
Absolutely.
mm. And
The watercolor. I love it
I
when you
think
do watercolor.
yeah, I think the watercolor made it, but I think this doesn't quite. I mean that it doesn't quite it certainly doesn't invoke enough emotion in me than this one does, and I
Right.
think it's mainly
Agreed.
just for I think the watercolor helps
Yep.
drive that home. The next one, the episode is
Past and
my head.
present.
Thank you. So there's a couple of really good ones. This
Wow.
is one I had a vision. Some of these I had no vision for, and when I came up to the episode, I went, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But this one I had a vision for, and I sort of knew because at the start of every season, I go through the episode list and I go, don't know what I'm doing to do with that. Don't know what I'm doing with that. But I'll see one. I go, oh yeah, that would be really good. You could do this,
What
and then
what
yeah. So
creeped the hell out of this one for me was the smiling face
well, yeah,
of
and
around all the death.
yeah, and I'll get to that. So I sort of started with anime because I felt like it was going to get me the best because what you can do you can take an anime image which generally will have more exaggerated facial expressions or more it just it just has a different style, obviously,
Hmm.
to photorealism or photos
Hmm.
in general. But you can actually take them and use the AI to like try and hold on to the shape of the image, and you can get some photorealism with anime facial expressions or that sort of over exaggerated skulls and stuff in the background.
What's a
And I sort
prompt
of
for something like this? Is it girl surrounded by dead bodies or
I
bones,
think
skulls?
this
What would it
you can
be?
see you can see in the bottom here. I was at this time I was using a commercially available AI called ClipDrop,
Hmm.
which just uses Stability AI, which is the open source available one that I can run on my own computer. But I think they run it through Chat GPT, and so
Okay.
it will take your prompt and then try and Chat GPT then looks at it and tries to make sense of what you're really after, and then it feeds it to the AI to then generate. So if you've just got jumbled bunch mess of words all over the place, the Chat GPT takes it and goes, okay, I think this is what he's after, and then feeds it to the AI and makes it better. Um, so again, I was kind of going with a more like an anime kind of thing, but in this one, she kind of looks like she knows what she's doing. In the
Yeah.
show, she's not aware. So, I even went with a realistic image.
Wow.
And this one's probably okay, but I just felt it was maybe a bit too gory. It's a bit too,
That's pretty
um,
intense, man.
yeah, it was really sort of maybe a bit too intense. This one came out pretty good, but
Ooh.
again, she's got that face that she knows what she's doing. I wanted more innocence. I wanted, she doesn't know what she's doing. She doesn't know that there's all this death behind her. So we eventually settled on this one, where she just seems like this nice, innocent blonde girl who's just completely unaware of all the death behind her in her past, right?
This is one
So.
of the creepiest things that you've done. That's why I wanted to preempt you by talking about the smiling face, because that image is still with me. And this image, I mean, it's just
Because you could
uh
interpret it as innocence, but then the smile, you could also say that there's a hint that she knows what's going on, that she
yeah.
knows.
There's
Like,
some
so,
madness here.
yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so yeah, I think I did use clip drop for this one as well, but obviously at the end I got rid of it and edited it out down here. Not much editing needed to happen with this one, thankfully. I think I edited the face to make her smiling, or change the face up a little bit, and I think I had to fix. I think one of the skulls was like doubled up on itself, but other than that, this one's pretty much just all AI.
Is there a reason, in your opinion, why the further we go back, the more unskull-like things look? Is it just not focusing on making everything a skull? It's not recognizing, I guess, that they are skulls. Um, that some of them just
Um,
turn into rocks.
so you're
What do you
talking,
think is going on? Yeah. What do you think the
uh,
computer is thinking?
I think it's looking at what other artists have done in that similar sort of
Oh.
style, and you probably don't, because your eyes are only focusing really here, right? You're not
Mm-hmm.
looking up the back, and I guess from the AI's perspective, what it's learned about art and painting is that probably artists don't. You want your eyes to be drawn into where there's more
Yeah.
detail. You don't want to be looking up here. So I think it's probably just that. It does tend to have an issue rendering faces if they're going to be really far away. If you've got someone in the foreground, it'll do really well. But then if there's a crowd in the background, it's not going to render. It's just going to give you, yeah, blurry faces that sort of just
Interesting.
just vaguely represent people in a crowd.
Okay.
So there's probably a bit of, yeah, limitation from the AI, but probably just from what it's learned in, through
Okay.
artists.
Okay, cool.
The next one I'm really proud of. This is part what Jolinar's
Jolinar's
memories.
memories. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I knew what
Me
I wanted to do.
too.
I knew what I wanted to do with this one. So this is a draft. So this is what I did was I knew I wanted to, the cargo ship hovering over the planet is just the first thing I think about when I thought about the
Mm-hmm.
episode. So I did a few drafts, got this image of the planet. I went, that looks good. And then I needed to come up with a ship. And so I managed to generate something like this. And this, again, used an actual cargo ship and used that AI to hold the shape of the
That looks
ship.
like an Alkesh.
Yeah, so it looks probably a bit more Alkesh. It definitely was the cargo ship that I
Okay.
gave it. And I prompted it to just, be like over the top of a this was still me attempting to just have the ship hovering, orbiting a planet.
Mm-hmm.
But it just looked like it was like hovering just a
Yeah, it's
little
in
bit above the
atmosphere.
ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I sort of went, well, that's not really what I want. But then I found that, and I went, well, why don't we just merge the two together?
Yep.
So you can see I've updated, obviously done a whole bunch more updating. So I basically just cut out everything around this ship,
Mm-hmm.
got rid of all the background, and then threw it on top of the planet, and then uh, re-edited it again with very low strength on the AI just to basically keep the shape, but just make it
Yeah.
more. I gave it more prompting. I obviously just prompted it for spaceship. I used probably reference like Star Wars, Star Citizen, any sort of game that has
Yeah.
spaceships in it, to
It's
give it
more
just a.
angular. It works.
Yeah. So, oh well, yeah, I think I used stuff like Angular or uh, like triangular, those kind
Mm-hmm.
of words to just really hammer home what I'm after. And then, yeah, blew it up into, I think this was like 5K at the time when I was able to scale up
Wow.
images this big. Yeah, I really like this one. This one is really good. And then part two, I wanted to be down on the surface, so I did a couple of different drafts. I pulled this one out because I thought this just looked funky. It's got a
Mm-hmm.
weird art style to it. It could have worked, but it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
quite what I was going for. But you can see it's like a pool of lava, and there even seems to be like a doorway with some stairs
Mm-hmm.
going inside. This was kind of the vibe I was going for. I didn't mind the art style, but it wasn't quite what I wanted. This was getting a bit closer.
Interesting.
Definitely looks like hell.
Yeah, that's how I think. Yeah.
But eventually settled on this one, which is the big blown up. I think I really like the skulls. They look almost like they were looking at the people, like they were watching you.
Yep.
Um, and
And I
that,
love the alien nature of them. Especially the mid up right there. Yeah, that's
yeah, this
very
one
like
looks,
alien resurrection-y.
yeah, that
Yeah.
looks like a xenomorph for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I sort of found this and went, yeah, that's the one. I think I did attempt. I think I spent 2 days trying to get, four little men in, or not four, three men in, little army suits
Yeah.
to represent SG-1, but nothing was
Wasn't
really
having it.
working.
Yeah.
It wasn't working. I was running up against the clock, and I went, yeah, we won't bother. But this still drives home the point of the episode anyway.
I love the claws hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, it really gave a great vibe.
This is not a place you want to be.
No, I should no, definitely. Mm. The next one I don't have any drafts for. There
Okay.
wasn't really much going on. This
Mm-hmm.
is
Foothold.
Foothold. Yeah. So I think I tried a whole bunch. I didn't have many drafts. I remember struggling with this one. This is one of the ones I just didn't have a vision for. I didn't really know
Mm-hmm.
where I wanted to go. I think I attempted to try and take a still image of one of the aliens and see if that would work. But this was one of those times where when the AI looked at it, it spat back an image where it didn't have a lot of detail in it. It was very,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it just didn't have a lot going on.
Well, the
So
anime theme kind of works for this,
y-
and you can associate those creatures with fish, and octopi and things like that. So yeah, it works.
Yeah, and that's sort of where my head was going. So I know that's Sam, and I tried to fix it to be somebody else, and I know Sam obviously he wasn't in one of those little
It's fine.
hanging cocoon things, but it's an
Yeah.
alternate universe, I guess. I
Yep.
think you suggested it in the actual podcast. So I was like, yeah, there we go, that works.
Oh,
Yep,
I did.
definitely.
Okay. All right.
Um, so the next episode, I can't remember the name of it, so you'll have to help me here with
Pretense.
Pretense. Thank you. So this one, I did have a vision for. I wanted to do like a courtroom, and so I did a couple of different variations. I tried this, and then I wanted it a bit more futuristic, so I sort of tried to give it more futuristic prompts, and it came out like this, but it just felt a bit um, empty, I suppose. I sort of kept attempting different styles. Like this one was quite nice.
Oh,
It's coming
yeah.
towards a more like this is more realistic, and this is becoming a bit more digital art, and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't upset with that, so I kept trying, and it's getting more cartoony to the point where I'm now almost at pixel art. And I thought,
Wow.
maybe I'll try. Oh, I like the style, so I went, well, let's try like a pixel art kind of courtroom thing. But
Wow.
it just still felt hollow. It didn't feel like it really represented the episode, because the episode is really about the tug of
Scar and
war.
Chlorel's tug of war.
Yeah. So I sort of scrapped that idea, and I used an image of Scar to get this guy from the episode. So again, it spat back a lot of detail, and when I prompted, it used Scar's sort of imagery and his character to
Yep.
give something along those lines. And
Yep.
then I thought, well, it'd be really cool if I could have like a devil and angel thing on his side, kind of going on, from Jack and the
Yep.
like, what's the other?
The Archons. You've got Zapakna and you've got Jack and
Yeah,
Daniel.
Zapakna. Thank you. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
his name. And so then I added those two onto there. And so I've got Jack looking pretty much like Jack, and I was like, great,
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. But that didn't really look like Zapakna, and I think I tried.
You're missing his hat.
Yeah, and so I think I tried a couple of different options. I think I even tried prompting
Interesting.
the face Elon Musk, because I think I remember the
He does
Zapakna
look like
character
Elon Musk.
looking a little bit
Yes.
like Elon Musk. So I remember
Yeah.
prompting Elon Musk to try and get what I wanted, but this guy still had hair, and I was trying to get rid of it. And anyway, I eventually ended up with this.
Yep.
which still looks pretty good. I think at some point you'll notice, yeah, there's like this weird earring thing here that I eventually got rid of in the final detail.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a lot of this was mostly AI, this was mostly AI, this was all basically me. I basically almost had to draw out the face. I had to paint, because I wanted him to have some hair, but not a lot, because I remember him being pretty clean shaven. So I was trying to get the character pretty accurate.
It works.
Um,
I mean, no Carmen Miranda hat, but hey, we're close.
that was asking too much of the AI when I was already struggling here to
Or tell it
just get.
Chiquita Banana.
Yeah, so I was already struggling. And then the next one is I really like this one actually, Urgo. Um,
Oh yeah.
so this is this is a draft, but this was sort of along the lines of what I was after. So I sort of tried this, and then I got this one, and it all sort of really looked like the character Urgo. I don't know if I used a reference. I don't remember what I did here to get this because I don't think it recognizes. Is it Dom DeLuise? I don't.
Yes, it's Dom. That's
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I
I
sent
don't.
this to Peter afterwards and he loved it.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so funny.
so I have a vague recollection that I may have used the word Dom DeLuise, but I think I also used a picture of Urgo online, and you can there's a new AI. There was a new AI technology going around at the time where you could do what's called facial replacement. So you could take a photo of someone, and then you could basically tell the AI to look at the face and put it onto the face of the image you're working on. So I think I
Mm-hmm.
did a little bit of both, and it came out with that. And then I got to this, and this is the first draft of the actual final image. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the first thing it spat out at me. And you have this guy in the background laughing. And I went, no, I don't really,
They're
not
enjoying
really.
something.
Yeah, not really after that. So I really like the idea of maybe having Jack and Sam in the background, kind of looking annoyed at Urgo because he was, being that annoying character. And I kind of started down that track with Jack looking really annoyed at this dude. And I knew you'd get a kick out of it. But I then tried to put, other people behind him, and it was going to take more time. And I think I was running up against the clock. I just needed to deliver this thing. So
Okay.
I basically just removed it, and we ended up with this one. So
Yeah,
which is still good. But I
it's
really
still
did
great.
like
Yeah.
I still did like the really annoyed looking
I
Jack
mean,
in the
it's
background.
it's Dom,
Yeah.
Dom
Oh
works.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. It definitely looks like him. Yeah. And then this 100 Days is the very next episode. I had a
Yes.
clear image for what I wanted to do here. I knew pretty much straight away. I wanted to tell the story of from the, because there is the, not rumor, but there's the suggested idea that Jack, at the end of the episode, the
And
lady, whatever her
Lara.
name was,
Uh-huh.
yeah, she touches her tummy, right? And so,
Yeah.
fans went wild saying, "Oh, she's pregnant," and so I played along that what if, but maybe to tick Evie off just slightly because I know she hates that idea. So I played the what if of, you know, if there was a child and he said, "Well, who's my dad?" and then the mum is explaining, and who their dad was, and so this is like a child painting that image of how his mother met
Mom
his
and dad
father.
met.
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
is the child's image of the meteors, and then them the mum and dad meeting and holding hands, and I thought it was really cute, and I know everybody's going to hate me for that
I
for
don't.
playing
I
for
think it's
playing the
great.
what if. Yeah, all the shippers, you know how they get.
They can get there's room for everyone in the
There's
sea.
room for no, of course. Uh, and then you're gonna have to remind me the name of the next
Shades of
episode.
Grey.
Okay, so I did a couple
I
of.
love the GTA style.
I wanted Jack O'Neill as a burglar, right? That was my clear vision. So I've got a couple of different options. He's stealing something from inside someone's house. You cat burglar walking across the fence line. That gun is quite big.
Outrageous.
Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
he's being shot at either. It kind of looks like maybe he's under fire. I'm not quite sure what's going
Yeah,
on,
quite
but
possibly.
eventually settled on this one where he's cat bug, got the hood over. He's got some sort of tool here to, I don't know, disarm whatever this is. not a lot of, I don't think I did much to this one. I think what he was playing with at the time wasn't this ball looking thing.
Okay.
I think I ended up asking for like a Fabergé egg or something, like a futuristic sphere Fabergé egg, something along those lines, to sort of get something looking technical and weird and intricate. And yeah, we sort of settled on that, I guess. And then the next episode, what's this one called?
This is called New Ground.
New Ground. Again, I had a clear vision for what I wanted to do. At the time when I originally looked at the episode list as I'm going through it at the start of season 3, I went, I don't really know what I want to do here, because there's like episodes. There's not much that my brain remembers about this episode, but I do remember them being in cages, the 3 of them sitting there. So this is actually a progress image of the whole thing. So you can see we sort of started here, but I wanted to get rid of the lighting in the 2 left cages. So you can sort of see I did that there and cleaned it up a little bit.
I see.
Similar sort of thing, got rid of it, cleaned it all up a little bit. And then eventually, I think, is it the last one? Yeah. And then just kind of blew it up to, because this is the original size, and then I blew it up. And I think that was probably a mistake, because when I made it a larger image, you get these kind of weird artifacting around the edges here for whatever upscaler I used. So, but at the time it didn't bother me. But when I went back and when I go back and look through some of these images, I go, I didn't like how that turned out, or I should have spent more time on that. But I only have a certain amount of time before I have to send this to you guys. So
Absolutely.
that was not too bad. I think really in hindsight, this probably looked better because it's not as artifacted. But at the time, I was still trying to blow these images up to 3 or 4K, and probably artifacted a little too much. The next episode is Keb, which I really like this episode.
Maternal Instinct.
Maternal Instinct. Sorry. And originally when I first started, when I did this image and this image, funnily enough, I had the wrong episode in my head. I had in my head the episode where Shara has the child.
Yes.
And so when I started doing this, I started doing images of a baby. So this would have been great for that episode. But then halfway through, I went, no, hang on a minute. That's not what this episode is at all. So I had to very quickly change tack. So Keb, the very first thing you think of is the big, temple thing in the distance is the first thing I think about when I think about Keb. So I tried all these different images. This one's great. I mean, really, I don't know why I didn't settle on this one, because that's Keb in the distance. But I really wanted to make it more about the temple, so I ended up settling on this. So this isn't quite the final image. Because I've got these cherry blossom, I guess leaves are kind of like being swept in the wind, and it just was sort of detracting from the whole thing. So I ended up cleaning that up a little bit and ended up with what you see here.
Wow. Jeez, man.
So
that is so cool.
I think I did a lot of work around, because when you really zoom in, you can see there's a lot of stuff like artifacting around the roof line and around the corners. So you'll see, if I zoom back out, you'll see I did a lot of cleaning up to get rid of all of that. So really it just involved taking bits of the sky, with my digital pen and coloring in over those bits, and then getting the AI to very, with a very low strength, just sort of go over that. And it can sort of see, okay, well, there's clouds around here. The paint that you've put over the top is a similar color. He obviously wants clouds there. So, but you don't want to turn the strength up too much, because sometimes it then just completely does its own thing. So I really had to go low strength on all of these corners and really fix it up. And that probably took me about an hour just to get all those.
Wow. Well, it works.
Yeah, no, it cleaned it up. It looks really good for sure. Yeah. So next episode, I'm sure you can imagine
Crystal Skull.
Yeah. Wow. I wonder what I went with.
I'm not sure. Ooh.
So this was one of the drafts.
Obsidian skull.
Yeah, but from memory, the skull was more opaque. So I really like this one, but I can't really see through the skull all that well.
Yep.
So I remember using Midjourney for this. So Midjourney did really well. There's a couple of really cool colored ones
Ooh.
here and here. I really liked the detail on the skull,
Yeah, I
these
do too.
swirls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. But eventually I ended up settling on this one because it was more opaque. It looked like it was in a temple. It
Yep.
almost looked like it's on some sort of like booby trap. Like if you took it
Yeah.
off, it would go
Start
off.
throwing
Yeah.
poison arrows at you.
Yeah. So yeah, that one really came out really well. But yeah, as soon as I saw the episode list, I went, cool, I'm gonna do a Crystal Skull. Like there's not much more about that episode, really, is there, that sort of comes to mind when you think if you made an image to encapsulate an entire episode, what would you make? You'd make a Crystal Skull.
I like the lighting too.
Yeah, no, it all came out really well. There wasn't much editing here. I think the only thing I did was obviously blow it up, and I think I edited the pillars here a little bit,
Hmm.
and that was kind of about it. I didn't really touch the skull at all. And then I think the final episode for season 3 was
Nemesis.
Nemesis. So just wanted to do a replicator, really.
Uh-huh.
So there wasn't much to this. I sort of tried to prompt, metal spider, robotic spider. I think I did end up using a screenshot, not a screenshot. It was just an image of an actual replicator. It wasn't from the episode. It was just like just a replicator.
Hmm.
And got to here and I went, well, this looks pretty good. And then I got the AI to just kind of go, you can do what's called image to image. So I sent it this image and I said, make something like this. I kept the strength pretty low to keep the overall form and eventually landed on this. So you can
Wow.
see the small differences. Mainly if you
Uh-huh.
look at the joints where the arms are, it like eventually gives it like these bolts
Hmm.
around it. And that looked close enough. It's really hard to get a replicator with all the, individual
Blocks.
metal blocks that they're made out of. So I really just had to go with an interpretation on this one.
Yep.
Hmm.
Wild, man. All right. Then we have Small Victories.
Yeah, so season 4. So I wanted a submarine. The first idea I had was I wanted like a submarine that's, like rotted out and rusted and being eaten away, right? So I sort of started on that idea. This one looked really good, but it just
Oh,
looked
wow.
it looked really cool, but it wasn't, I don't know, they weren't quite speed like this, this looks kind of like a sub, but if it was also a Navy vessel because it's really high
Hmm.
up in the water. It just doesn't look. This came out okay, but it sort of looked too. I actually don't know why I didn't go with it. To be perfectly honest, it just
Well,
sort
the
of
sub's
wasn't.
functional. So
Yeah, at the
this
time,
one
yeah, this was
is
meant. Well, this was going to be like a at the end of it all. This sub has been eaten. Now I know they blow it up, but
yeah.
this would be
After
like
it's
a
been
what?
eaten by replicators.
Yeah, what if it had already
Okay.
been eaten by
Okay,
replicators?
cool.
And then this one looked really realistic. I mean,
That
look
looks
at that.
real.
Yeah, that looks bloody
Jeez.
real. It looks really, it's run aground and everything. I thought that
Uh-huh.
looked really good. And then I went, I don't know why just wasn't in love with these. And so I went, well, what else is about the episode? What else do they do in the episode? And I remember there's the episode with the food cubes, and yellow
That's
is his
right.
favorite. So I thought maybe I'll do a thing of the food cubes. And then I was like, that's not really capturing the whole thing, is it? So this one was taking a still of the image from the episode of the food cubes on a tray, so you can kind of see it's kind of done
Hmm.
that here. Um, but then I think this is where I had a lot of time. You guys had a big break, and so I actually had a lot of time to develop ideas for a lot of season 4. So then I went, it'd be kind of funny if a spider was wearing a captain's hat, but it was like a metal robot spider, right? Because you've got the replicators on this sub, and it'd just be really cool if it was wearing this little cute hat. So I tried a couple of different ideas.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, look at that.
that one looks a little more realistic, but you've got these really,
The ship is in the sky.
yeah, 1500, 1600s,
Yeah.
style sail ship.
Yeah, it's a
Sailing ship.
schooner. Yeah.
So, but eventually I landed on this one, which is, a metal spider, which is basically what the replicators are, a metal robot thingy, wearing a little captain's hat. The captain's hat took me forever. I spent so much time getting this
Wow.
captain's hat right. I think what I did is I got this image of the spider, and then I actually had to get like a PNG image over the top of the thing, and then just softly, again, low strength with the AI,
Wow.
and told it captain's hat, sailor's hat, and just use all those kind of words to try and get it to, just to try and get it
Respond.
where
And
I
then
want
you
it.
got
Yeah.
the Foxtrot sub. So
Yeah, well, and I don't know why I didn't include it in the draft. I did have a copy, a version where it wasn't here, and I was going to include it to show, that I then added the sub, but I didn't
okay.
want to completely fill.
I suspect that you added it.
Yeah, yeah. So it was definitely added afterwards, but yeah, I think that came out quite good.
Does the
Um,
job.
so then the next episode is you're gonna have to help me here.
This is going to be the other side.
Yeah, this is
Wow.
like a guessing. This is a bit like a guessing game for you, isn't it? You see the image on the
Yes.
screen.
I do have the
So,
episode list in front of me, I'm just saying. So
okay, no worries. Maybe I should have done that. Uh,
that's funny.
so yeah, a couple of different ideas. I'm looking at the images off to the side here, so I know which ones to flick to. So a couple of
Wow.
different ideas. It was really I just wanted it to be like a big battle, right? A big
Hmm.
battle. There's lots of spaceships here. I actually did spend a bit of time developing this one, because originally there wasn't a ship here or a ship here, and I
Hmm.
kind of added those in, and I thought, because this was coming along quite well, and I wanted to add like laser fire kind of
That would have really
crisscrossing.
worked right
That
there.
would have looked really cool, but it kind of wasn't working, and I put this one to the side for a couple of weeks afterwards. Again, I still had a lot of time before you guys were starting back up, and I ended up working on a few others, and then I came back to it, and it just still wasn't really
You weren't
working for me.
crazy about
So
it. Yeah.
I went a different tact, and maybe I
Ooh.
could go, yeah, the guys in the tactics room, I guess you'd call it, um, plotting out what they were doing. But then I went back to the outside battle, and I ended up with this. So
Yep.
this one was heavily edited. I don't have the original, but this one was heavily edited with I added the ships in, so I think I used words like Star Fox, like if you remember the
Yeah.
Nintendo game Star
Uh-huh.
Fox.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Yeah,
R wing. Yeah.
yeah. So I think I used that because when I originally asked for ships, it came out with something that looked very similar like that, and then I basically took this one and then just kind of like duplicated and put them in like a bit of a flying formation, and
Hmm.
then kind of low strength AI told it to go over it again, and then I asked for like Star Fox, Star Wars, spaceship, all that kind of angular, triangular, delta wing, all those kind of
Hmm.
words to get what I'm after. And then I did a lot of editing with the building on the side to make that look more like it's in ruins. There was a lot of fire in the middle here, so I kind of didn't want it to be. I kind of wanted more rubble, so I kind of got rid
Yeah.
of a lot of here. I did a lot of work just on around the sides here. I did a shirt load of work in the sky. So all of this blue, grayish looking clouds, I've completely redone. This image is basically just completely redone from the original, to be honest. It's just really it's like this structure and some of this structure is like and maybe a bit of the
Wow.
floor is the original. The rest is all I went as so far as to re-edit this building here. I have like I think probably 7 different versions of like the skyscrapers in the background.
Hmm.
And then just as I was finishing up, I was looking at some different AI models and those Lauras again, if you remember.
Hmm.
And someone had done a mushroom cloud, an explosion Laura. And I went, well, I want to play with that. And so I last minute, I sort of added this explosion in the background, but it kind of looks like the planes have come across and thrown that bomb and are flying away and
Yeah.
it's now
Yeah.
going
They've
off
they've
again.
released something that's
So
gotten given the landscape a big plume.
yeah, so I did. Yeah, I played. Yeah, a lot of this was changed. This one I spent a lot of time on, but
It looks great. It's one of
I
my
mean,
favorites. The next
so
one is upgrades. Yes.
yeah,
This is so cool.
there was no drafts for this one, or there wasn't. Not that there weren't any drafts. I think I did. What did I do with this one? Did some weird stuff to get this one to work. I think did image to image, but with Midjourney. So I actually took a still from the show
Hmm.
and then gave it to
Of the
Midjourney
armband. Yeah.
and prompted the armband and it came out. It basically came out with this and this. Like, there's no editing on this one. I just spat that out and I went perfect, and then just moved on to the next
I
thing.
love the ticking. I love the leather influence and the crystal.
Mm.
It's solid.
Yeah, I as soon as it spat that out, I went, yeah, that's perfect. So just kind of kept going with that one.
Just wild, man.
Yeah, and the next one is Crossroads. I remember this one because
You took
some of
an
the
image of Musette Vander.
yes, yeah. So it was that image or that scene early on in the episode where she first arrives at the SGC
Hmm.
and she's standing up and Tilk is still sitting down. She's like standing up and she's,
Hmm.
I think she's saying to Hammond, if you won't help me, something, blah blah blah. She's getting a bit
The Gould
a
is
bit
starting to freak out.
yeah, she's getting a bit annoyed. So it's taken from that. So you might be able to see in the background is the stairway that goes up, that
Okay, the
corkscrew
spirals.
stairway. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can kind of see the hand railing here a little bit and the stairs a little bit still in the background.
Okay.
Because I really struggled with this one. I didn't really know what I wanted to do or what sort of imagery really sort of encompassed the whole episode that I could put in. I did try um just taking the episode name and doing Crossroads, but it was not
Oh,
really.
geez. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it didn't
The
really
thing
work.
that
So,
strikes me about this is the peach fuzz on her left arm. Yep.
yeah, yes,
From the light.
yeah, and you know what? And I didn't notice it until you pointed it out in the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I obviously go back and I watch, afterwards and I see what you guys thought of it.
Yeah, I'm sure I know what you were staring at the whole time.
Hardly. I tell you what, I spent a lot of time up here. I'll
Wow,
have you
that's
know. I
cool.
was,
That is cool.
her eyes are up here, David. I was I spent a lot of time on this on the gold symbol.
It looks great. It really does look good.
Yeah, I that took it took a long time, but I'd sort of gotten and you guys called it like a Barbie doll, and I guess that's what it is. But the
It's
AI,
her skin is kind of plastic, but I mean, it's you can only get it to do so much, man. You
yeah,
can't get it to make the coffee just yet.
yeah, the AI I think is very any models where it's trained on where it's got portraits, it'll be all flawless models, and
Of course, yeah, because
from
they're
in
all
magazines and
airbrushed
fully
anyway.
airbrushed. Yeah,
Yeah, they're not
so when
real.
so it was a bit hard to. There are still a lot of people. There were, I think, probably 12 months ago, people looking for AI that had more realistic looking
Mm-hmm.
skin texture and tones because they didn't want this, airbrushed, blown out skin tones, that
Right.
made you look plastic. But I don't have those, so I sort of had to go there. I there must have been 50 iterations of this damn thing just to get to, because I basically I got the symbol, right, and there's a
Mhm.
PNG symbol like with a clear background that I could put over the top of it, but I couldn't just put it over the top and say call that done. It literally just looked like an image on her head, so I had to try and get the AI to blend it into the skin, and it just I tried to call it like a tattoo because that's about as close as I can get the AI to understand what I'm after, and it just
Mm-hmm.
did not want to play ball. If I turned the strength up just 1% too much, it then just completely changed it, and it would, it'll give me
Wow.
it'll give me something just I didn't want at all. It'll just lose the shape, and just that was so difficult. But I was
You
like,
can't beat yourself up this hard.
really as that cherry on top, I really wanted to get,
Yeah.
and I was chuffed that I managed to get that one in the end.
Yeah.
So,
It
um,
works.
all right, next episode is
Divide and conquer.
Divide and Conquer. So
Wow.
I kind of wanted to do the image of where
Martouf.
Martouf is, turning and pointing his gun at the fake
People are
president.
awfully calm. That's the only, negative.
This guy in the background over here has kind of got his hands up, like he's a bit like, oh no. But I don't know. It wasn't really working for me. And so I sort of changed tack and I tried, the other thing that I really remember about the episode is when people had their faces being blasted
Wow. You definitely
with a
took a
laser.
screenshot from that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell it's from that one particular
Yep.
one particular officer.
Yep.
But so I tried that and then went, it's looking too close to the screenshot, and it was getting a bit too difficult to try and get this laser beam to really do what I
Yeah,
wanted
it's
it
scanning
to
her
do.
face. Yeah.
Yeah, so then I moved on to, it's about mind control, right, or brain control. So I
Yep.
landed on this image. So this is the draft of the original final one. So you can see this little brain here. I don't know what he's doing here, and I don't know why this one has feet. But so I obviously ended up cleaning that up, and you get this the final
Wow.
image that you see here. But it loses a lot of detail in the hands. Like you can see up here, there's probably a bit more detail in the hands, but I've had to sort of take that out, and you lose his fingernail here.
Looks like Daddy Brain gave birth to Baby Brain here. And it's Baby
Yeah,
Brain's innards
yeah.
are still kind of
Yeah, it looks like a family of little brains.
Yeah.
But I obviously had to try and get the strings here to reconnect back to the brain, and so I had to do a bit of work. So it sort of changed the overall tone, but it still worked in the end.
Yeah.
So Then we had Window of Opportunity, which is just about, I think,
Sure thing.
just about everyone's favorite. So I had a very clear vision. This one I knew even before I started looking at season 3. This is like when I started season 1, and I went, I know exactly what I want to do for Window of Opportunity. I want to do a golf ball on another planet, right? So I want to do a golf ball on another planet. So I have a whole
You
bunch of
wanted to show Alaris.
yeah. So I mean, this
That's
is
where the golf
looks
balls are going.
yeah. So looks like a almost like a diorama almost type of
It
art.
does. It looks like a little model of a ship. Yeah.
And then I sort of threw
Ooh,
time
interesting.
travel in there. Yeah, you know what? I kind of wanted to like make this like the Stargate almost with like the clock and time because it's time travel, but I couldn't really make it work. So I just sort
Most
of
of the
kept
Roman
trying
numerals are
different.
right, I want to say.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, apart from here, don't look, we
Apart
don't
from
know what that.
something's going on at 4 and 5 o'clock, but yeah.
Ah, that was the time at when it all went backwards. So, you know, that's uh so just there's just different variations of just golf ball on another planet that I'm trying to do until I eventually landed on this. Um
Yes.
and then the only thing I really edited, I think I did a little bit of editing around the sort of dunes here and then
Mhm.
the front of the Stargate here. So the final image is this. You can sort of see I think I
Yeah,
messed with the
yeah.
rocks a little bit, but you can see and the sky. If you look up in the top right here, you'll see the sky kind of gets a bit blended out a bit
Yes.
better. Because I didn't really like this like pulsar type of thing going on
Yeah,
here as well. So I sort of toned that down and we sort of ended up with this final image. So
that's
uh,
great. Now we
yeah,
know what Alaris could have looked like.
yeah, this was just what I had in my head at the time. So um yeah, and then the next one is
Watergate.
Watergate. So
Holy frozen bad guys.
I wanted Holy Frozen Bad Guys, right? Because that's the first thing I think about when I think about the episode. But in hindsight, I don't know why I didn't use this
This is
image.
great.
This is great. But I at the time I had a vision in my head and it wasn't what I wanted,
Okay.
right? In hindsight, I probably could have gone, that's good. That's good enough. That's really good. But I was messing around with the facial
Hmm.
recognition technology, and I really wanted to get
Tom.
Tom's face on there. So um, yeah, I don't know why I didn't end up using this image. To be honest, when I was going back through these drafts, I looked at that and went, I don't know why I didn't use that, or even this is
Interesting.
okay. You know,
You'll have a chance to use them again.
yeah. So I
Dr.
uh,
Manhattan. Someone froze Dr. Manhattan on aisle 6.
I worked on this one for a while.
Really? Wow.
To
Okay.
try and to so I actually color so the blue is all me. Like I just basically got an image of this guy in like a walk-in
Yeah.
freezer type of deal, and then I put a lot of blue over the top, and then tried to tell the AI that I wanted to look like he's frozen. I was kind of trying to go with like a more cartoony vibe, but yeah, just couldn't really get it to work. And so last minute, I think on the day that I had to send it to you, I changed tacks and sent the submarine
Yep.
instead.
Yep. Yeah.
But
But it's Swiss.
Swiss.
Wow. Yeah. Very, very cool. I love the
So
color.
yeah, I think it came out okay in the end, but
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't the original idea I was trying to go with anyway. Um, and the next episode,
Oh, wow. The first
had
ones.
had this sort of draft. There weren't many that I did here. I was struggling with this one to come up with something that I sort of felt represented the
That
episode,
looks terrifying.
and eventually settled on
Yeah.
this, where Daniel's trying to communicate with the Unas.
Yeah. That's what
So
Daniel would have looked like after about 3 or 4 months of hanging out on
I think the image was taken
P3X,
from.
whatever it
I
is.
think, I think the image was taken from something. I don't remember where. I remember this was. I might have just been Mid-Journey maybe, and then I heavily edited the face trying to get Daniel, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I edited the monster a fair bit. So, yeah. Anyway,
That's really wild.
then we have the one with the spaceship spitting fire. What's the name of that one?
That's going to be Scorched Earth.
Scorched Earth. Okay, so I had a vision of what I wanted. I wanted to flying saucer overhead, spitting fire down
Mm-hmm.
onto the planet, because that's really what I remember about the episode. So I got to here, and then but went, that's not enough fire. So then paint painted in my own fire of really just absolutely spitting it out.
Yeah.
Um,
And the Incarons.
yeah, and then but then I went, that house is too modern. That's too modern for the Incarons. We need to change that out. And then got to here and I went, yeah, that's pretty good. Could have used that. But then just sort of kept playing with it and went, well, that's too Native American Indian for me, I think, which is hilarious because I went back and then did more drafts, but then still ended up with this with the
Right. Well, they're
teeping.
still intense. So, I mean, that works.
Yeah, so this, yeah, so obviously this was heavily edited, the fire coming down. A lot
The
of the,
reflection. You can see the fire in the water.
yeah, so I mean just about everything from here down is all done again. I mean, as you can see, we just keep flicking through and changing. The spaceship keeps the same, but everything else changes. So I think I edited this guy in here. I really wanted a silhouette of someone watching the, impending doom. I
Uh-huh.
think I edited the people down here a little bit. I think I was trying to get someone here as well, standing in front of the water, but then I sort of went, no, I really like the reflection, so we'll keep that
Yep.
as it is. But yeah, I really like this one. This one, I had a clear vision of where I wanted to go. The AI was working with me and not being
Not
being
against you. And you
painful.
get a
Yeah, up
path
against me.
down the hill of the carnage from behind, behind the mountain as it's coming to just devour them.
Yeah, well, I imagine the fire is kind of like coming, as it's hitting the ground, it's kind of coming, spurting out from the sides, and
Oh,
so
okay.
that was kind of my vision. But yeah, I guess you could say it's also coming down the mountain. But yeah, yeah. And then the next episode is the one where they're under
Beneath the
the ice,
surface.
beneath the surface. Well, under the ice. Oh, I got it on my
Yeah.
phone. So I wanted a steampunk type
Mm-hmm.
thing. I wanted lots of big, heavy industrial copper pipes. So these are all the words I was using for a lot of
Wow.
these. But then eventually settled on this. And again, I don't know why I keep trying this. I find it comes out not as good as I think it would in my head. And I try and use the lauras that I've got for Daniel and
Yep.
Jack and Sam, but it just doesn't really come out how I would want. And I don't know. I probably could have kept just the original with the three people, and it still would have driven home the same
Mm-hmm.
image. But I try and make it. I felt like it just wasn't Stargate-esque enough, and so I try and add the characters in. But the AI has a bit of a hard time trying to get their faces exact. Um, anyway, so then we had the guy
Martin Lloyd, Willie
Martin Lloyd.
Garson.
Yeah. So this one came out really well. I think it used an image of Martin Lloyd, of his face. And then I just did a whole bunch of different things of him, being like I wanted like conspiracy theorist, and I wanted there to be like a board in the background with papers and and what have you everywhere. So there's a whole bunch of just different. It came out really well. You give it his face, and it just knew exactly what it
It
wanted to
knew
do
exactly right.
until we landed on this one, which I just thought came out really well. I did a lot of editing in the background to try and get like lines of rope not connected to different items of note, and I think I ended up editing a lot down the bottom here. I think because I think originally the image gave me the black movie lines that you
Yeah,
see.
yeah, the black
Yeah.
bars,
Yeah,
cinematic.
the black bar, the cinematic black bar. So I had to get rid of those. So the top bit had to be added in, the bottom bit had to be added in, and then I had to fix up his
Buttons.
wrists and the buttons, yeah, and the shirt. So a fair bit had to get edited around here.
Wow.
I'm just thankful he has that looks like he has all the right amount of fingers, I think.
Right. Yeah, you got an escape pod kind of thing happening back there on the wall. So there's a lot happening.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that one came
You
out pretty good.
invoke Martin
Yeah, which is
for
really what
sure.
that. Yeah. And then I think the episode is it called Tangent? Is it Tangent? Is the
Yes.
next episode? So this is a still from the show that I tried to use. So this is the officers looking at the
Mm-hmm.
ship as it's flying along, but that didn't really.
Cinematic bars again.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, you can see it there, cinematic bar down the bottom. So, but that didn't really like for me. The whole episode is really about Jack and Tilk in the ship, right? Like it's
Yep.
not, you know, So I started to do something along those lines, but the AI doesn't really understand spaceships all that well. So it comes out with these really wacky looking things. I mean, this was pretty good. It's orbiting around Jupiter, which is where they do their
Mm-hmm.
little maneuver. But it's just not. I think this was taken from a still from the image from the show, and I tried to, but I let the AI be a bit more creative about it and try and. So I think this is as they're releasing the missile to try and get them
Oh, the controlled
velocity.
burn.
Yes, I think that's what this is from, or what it was attempting to do, but it didn't really come out. So I
Mhm.
went back to I literally went back to the drawing board and I drew this.
That's right.
So I drew this and then basically used that technology to get the AI to hold the shape of what I'm after, and
Hmm.
eventually we ended up with that. But
Wow,
you can
that is
just see
so cool.
look how close it got to what I was after. But
Uh-huh.
I had to do a lot of editing with the ship, but it kept that shape. It just kept the forward swept wing. It kept it knew exactly where the cockpit was meant to go. It really understood that that was Jupiter. Um,
And the stars.
and the star, yeah, well, the stars I had to paint in myself. There's
Oh,
a
okay.
there's actually a paintbrush called Starry Night, and you literally just go over the top of it, and it'll just dot white.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I hope you can't hear my damn cat.
Nope, I can't.
Okay. So I had to go in and do add the stars in myself because yeah, when you asked, when I put little stars here, but then it thought I wanted like other planets in the background. I think so. I probably didn't prompt all that or didn't draw all that well there, but it was just to get my idea across. So, but
It
yeah,
works.
yeah, that came out really well. I'm really chuffed with how that came out. I was really really pleased with that one.
You're really what with how it came out?
Please, so chuffed. Have you not heard
Chuffed.
that?
Okay, now
Chuffed.
you repeat the Australian word. I wanted to hear it. Make sure I heard it right. Go ahead.
Um, and then we have, I remember what this one's called. This one's called Serpent's Venom because that's what
Oh
I wanted to do.
yeah.
I wanted Serpent's Venom, but a lot of these had really big heads of snakes, of serpents. But I wanted it to be more about
The bottle,
the vial, the poison
the
itself,
vial.
and
Yeah.
less about the snake head. So it still has the snake coiled around it, but the contents of it is green, like you would envision poison being.
This is one of the better ones of
These are
my
red. But yeah, sorry, go
of you being literal. This is one of the
on.
one of the better ones in my opinion. One of my
What, you didn't
favorites.
like the rock and roll show with for
I said one of. I didn't said the. That's probably my favorite.
I think
Yeah.
this is probably one of them. I like the brainwashing one.
Yep.
Where we're being very well with being very little with the title. I
That
think
was extremely literal.
yeah, the serpent song is very literal, but I just went, that's too funny not to.
Well, I
So,
mean, you got Teal'c and Jack, singing with a cobra
rocking about with a snake.
on the
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
pretty
it's
funny.
good. This works,
So
man.
and then I don't remember the name of the episode. I just know I wanted an urn. Um so what is the name of the episode? It's with what's her face? Um
So this is the curse.
the curse. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So we've inverted a couple. So the curse came before the serpent's venom. So that's okay.
Oh, did we? I've
Uh-huh.
written them down as episode 13
Yeah.
and
The
episode.
curse is 13. Serpent's venom is 14.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
It's all good.
So
So
I
this
knew
is the canopic jar. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted a canopic jar, but it just looked too big. This one I put in here as well, but it just looked too big. But I put this one in because I know you'd get a kick out of this. Classicism, harmony, clarity, and
Clarity and
restraint.
restrain.
Is it clarity? It looks like it says clarity
Yeah.
or
It could be
cleanness.
too. Yeah. Clarity.
Um,
Clear itty.
yeah.
It's figuring stuff out, man. We better start running for our lives.
I don't know what that was about. So
It will have no restrain.
I pulled this one out because I think it just
That's
looked cool.
cool.
But I really wanted to be being discovered because that's like how the whole thing started, right? Like,
Mhm.
it's almost like
So like
the
the
episode.
Stewart expedition, like when
Yeah.
they went before it even gets on the show. Oh, okay.
So this is yeah, sort of what I was going for, but eventually ended up settling on this one.
That's right. Wow.
So yeah, that one came
That's
out
so cool.
came out really good. I really like the sort of the dust settling you
Yep.
can see in the light.
Yep.
So yeah, so that
It's
one
been disturbed.
Yeah, that one was, I didn't really have a very clear vision, but I sort of,
You worked your way to it.
Yeah, it's the point where you guys are starting to catch up, so I'm starting to have less time with some of these to work on. And then the next episode is
Chain reaction.
Chain reaction. Yeah. So I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted here. I wanted Hammond with his granddaughters having a picnic.
Yep.
You know, retired. So there was this one. This one's okay. But it was sort of something that I'd done afterwards. I'd sort of actually generated this one first, and really liked. He's bold like Hammond is. He's
Yep.
wet. The gear that he's wearing looks more like the SGC. So
Mm-hmm.
although having said that, a general wears, I guess, the blue stuff probably
Mm-hmm.
more likely. But then that was too many children.
Yep.
And I don't know what's happening with the plane in the background, but it's trying to
It's
attempt.
giving birth to another plane.
Yeah, so I basically cleaned that up, removed a whole bunch of children,
That's it.
and got there. Shush.
I can't hear anything. Is it Twisty?
No, it's Freya. She's causing a racket. It's just bugging the crap out of me.
It's all right. That's there. You've released wild animals in your house. I don't know what you expect.
Yes, yeah.
So
So we ended up with that. So yeah, from lots
wow.
of children down to one, or down
He
to
ate
two.
them.
Yeah, and I cleaned up the picnic as well, just to make it look like there's some actual food there. So yeah, I think that was really nice. It was just Hammond's retired kind of thing.
Absolutely.
It's really good. So then the next episode is 2010. I know that.
Yes, 2010.
So a couple of
yes. How did you do that?
So this is starting to get to the point where now DALL-E 3 is available, and it understands text. You tell it what you want it to say, and it can now put words on a screen of what you want it to say. So do not go to P4C 970. Right. I know the whole thing is under no circumstances or something like that, which
Colonel Jack O'Neill, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
You did try a signature. Okay. Wow.
I did try a signature. I also did try the full text, but under no circumstances
under no circumcisions.
So yeah, it's not perfect yet, but it's got a better idea. And then I landed on this one, which I was like, that's perfect. It's like got the yellow note thing. It's got it's got a bit of blood on it. But at the time it said do not go to P4C 970.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Well, it wasn't and
do not go, Toto.
And it wasn't until about an hour before I had to send this to you that I went, oh shit, that says go tutu. And so I had to very quickly.
It says Toto. It's a Stargate reference.
I had to very quickly, so you can just see how I removed it.
But look at that.
Yeah, so I just had to get it to crinkle up again a little bit, but it didn't take me too long. It sort of understood what I wanted. So
did it do that, or did you type Toto?
No, no, it did that. It did Toto.
Okay.
I said do not go to P4C 970.
And it went too far. Okay.
Yeah, and then it went too far with
too far.
Yes, exactly. Then we have is it Absolute Power?
Yep.
I think is the next episode. So no drafts. This is just the final thing. I really had no vision or clear direction of what I wanted to do with this. So I basically was rushed on this one. So I sort of just tried to put something together that still represented the episode. And I think that kind of
as if Shifu's in private school and still practicing light, magic, which means light, Shifu. So
well, there you go.
And he looks like Peter Williams.
And then the next one is
the light.
Yeah, the light. So this there were a couple of drafts, but they were all basically the same. So I haven't bothered to include them. So this is just the final thing, but it just looked perfect, right? They first come in, all four of them discovered this, kaleidoscope of color almost. So, and this, weird alien structure in the middle. So I sort of it spat that out. I think I've used DALL-E or maybe Mid-Journey, but it spat that out. And I just went, that's perfect. That's
great stuff, man.
Yeah. So, and then we have the
Prodigy. Yeah.
Yeah. Prodigy. Yeah, well, again, this was just this one I'm pretty sure used DALL-E 3, and I sort of asked for like an Air Force woman, young, in Air Force uniform, and then just sort of spat that out, and I went perfect. So because it is all about what's her name?
It's Haley. Cadet Haley.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, it even spelled Air Force correctly.
It sure did.
Which is
and look at the ticking on the uniform. Yeah,
I know. Which you wouldn't get. It messed up the badging a little bit, but
it's fine.
But no, it came out really well. I think.
Yep.
It's sort of, I was happy with that. So,
She would be
And
happy
then
with those eyebrows. I need to
and then
send this to Elizabeth. I'm sure she'd get a kick out of it.
and then we had Entity. So
Yes.
I actually drew what I wanted to see. So I knew what I was going for. So I wanted the computer, the old 90s. Again, the words I used were, 90s style CRT,
Mm-hmm.
computer, keyboard, mouse, and then like wire, lots of wiring. I think I've said tentacles as well to try and get the idea of like these wired tentacles draping down from the ceiling. And so we got a couple of different variations of that.
Wow. As if
I
the
sort of
episode was done in the 80s.
Yeah, so I gave it a lot of free reign. I gave it this image and said something like this, but I gave it a lot of free reign at the time. And it came out with some of these. Like this one's really good.
Ooh.
Because I like that it's got like the crackling and
Did
what
it
looks like
decide to
the
do that?
entities. Yes, it did. Yeah, I didn't tell it to do that. Um, so this is just no editing at all. And then eh, ended up with this
Yep.
version in the end,
I
which is
love the
closer.
watercolor again.
Yeah, which is closer to what I wanted. I think I don't know whether it was you or Nicole, maybe, but someone mentioned it looked like fire in the background. And I
Yep.
went,
One of the girls
"Ah,
did.
shit. Yes, it does.
That's not what occurred to me when I first saw it.
I bet as soon
Uh,
as it said fire, I went, yeah, it kind of does look like fire, I guess.
Although me loving my QWERTY key system, though, I would be like sweating bullets trying to find which key I wanted to press on that keyboard. So,
Yeah, well, I think I did. I think that is. I did edit the keyboard because it did look a bit janky. I think that was about the only thing I edited, and then the screen. I
oh yeah,
I had to spend a lot of time trying to get that to look like the old MS-DOS font, from really way, way, way back when, in Windows 95 kind of
well,
style
I like the
things.
squarish kind of texture because it almost is like an alien system, like infiltrating an Earth computer.
Yeah, and so
That's
I
what I
think,
walked away with.
yeah, I think it just looked perfect. But it has, it has the big boxy CRT monitor. It had
Hmm.
all the wiring, had, other gizmos around the edges. So, so yeah, I think that came out really well.
Yep.
I think I'm going to be doing more drawing out an idea and trying to
Yep.
then. I think that's working really well. So, um, the yeah, this next episode, I
Oh
was
yeah.
I was so close to texting you and saying I don't have an image for this episode because I was just struggling to get anything for this episode. I just couldn't. I struggled with an idea. I didn't have any vision of what I wanted to do. I was trying to think what captures this image. What is it about this image or this episode that I can summarize in one image? And I mean, it's about obviously the other SG-1 team,
Hmm.
and and it's being discovered by uh
Cronus.
Cronus, thank you. That they're robots.
Uh-huh.
And so I did try to do like a severed Daniel head, but the AI just was not playing along. And this is all using Stable Diffusion. I'm not using anything else for this at this time, and I'm trying a whole bunch of other stuff, and just nothing was working. And I'm really struggling. I'm going, I've got nothing for this. I'm sitting here trying to work on it, and Evie's like, "All right, I'm going to go to bed now," because she goes to bed early, and I'm just going, I still don't have an image. I might have to text David. I don't have anything. And then last minute, I use. I don't know if you've seen Microsoft Copilot. If you've upgraded your Windows at any point.
I am getting texts to update to that. Yes.
So I've got that Copilot thing, and it runs DALL-E 3 on it. So it will give
Oh.
you over 24 hours. It lets you generate, I think, 12 images or something for free, right?
For free.
So for
Wow.
free. So I just opened up Copilot randomly and went, bro, this is what I want. Please, I really I need it to look like this. I want this, blah, blah, blah. And then bang, one of the first images, I just went, oh my God, hallelujah, I've got something. It's like 10 o'clock and I need to go to bed soon. And I'm just going, holy shit, I have something. And so the last thing I did was edit the heads because
Yes.
I think at the time it was Egyptian people, like
Oh, okay.
on their knees and sort of like prostrating themselves. So I did have to then change it up to have three army men kind of sitting on their knees, and then I edited it so that at least they were in the right order, where you had Tilk, Amanda, and then Daniel. I'm pretty sure that was
Yeah,
the
it's
order.
Daniel. Now,
Yeah.
does each of those changes count towards one of the 12 that you can generate for free in a day?
No. So I generated the image with the Egyptian people prostrating themselves in front of the pharaoh, and then I took that image and put it into Stable Diffusion, and
I
then edited
see, and it continued to work.
and then
Okay,
it
that's
continued to
cool.
work on it. Yeah. So, but it spat that out, and I just went, "Oh,
Got
hallelujah!" And
it.
then so, like at 11 o'clock, once I'd finally gotten it, I sent it to you, and I just went, "Whoo!" Like I found my first one.
Bloody hell.
And then
Good.
the final episode for season 4, I pretty much knew what I wanted to do, and this was this was done, I think, the day before I'd send it to you because it was really easy to just get big explosions of
Supernova.
supernovas. So I have a couple of different versions, but I landed on I
Interesting.
kind of generated this, and it looked like a painting, it looked very a little
Uh-huh.
bit Van Goghish, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, and
Yeah.
generated a few more, but then eventually settled on this one that I think looked really cool. It's got a lot of, you can see like the brush strokes in all the
Uh-huh.
it just looked really good. You can see, I really love
I
that you
love
can
the
just,
color, the
yeah, the
color
color
palette.
and the
Yep.
brush strokes of all the thing, and it just looks, yeah, give me Van Gogh-ish sort of vibes. So
And you still
yeah,
see the heavens, you still see stars. So
yeah, so I just settled on that and went, yeah, that's perfect. I mean, that sort of encapsulates the episode. She, blows up one star, and that's what she's known for.
everyone expects you to walk on water. This is good stuff, man.
Yeah, so
This is
um
solid. I don't know how you don't pull your hair out sometimes. I don't know how I'm looking at
oh,
or how I'm not looking at someone with completely gray hair or no hair. So
there's a little bit there.
I said completely.
Well, I mean, that second to last episode of season 4 definitely, yeah, stressed me out.
Yeah.
Sitting
What
there
are
going,
you looking what episodes are you looking forward to in season 5?
I
I haven't
haven't
gotten there,
done it.
David. Shush.
Well, I can. Do you want me to tease out one
I
image?
don't want to see anything yet.
You don't want to tease?
Uh-uh.
Okay. I've got
You want to show
I
me
wasn't
one,
quite
sure.
I wasn't well, yeah, come on.
Okay.
Come on. You
All right.
you'll forget about it.
I certainly will. No.
Because I didn't know
You're not sharing
uh
yet.
yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm preempting. I
Okay.
sort of really didn't know what I was going to do with this episode because I'm like, well, it's about betrayal, right? And so again,
Ooh.
after having that genius idea to use Copilot, I did it again and said, show me an image that encapsulates the idea of betrayal. And it spat that out. And I was like,
Oh.
okay. So I
Interesting.
think we're probably going to maybe use this as a bit of a draft idea or a starter and tell the AI, yeah, more of this, please. So yeah, I think that's really good. I mean, you could probably change that to be Jack, or you could even still leave that guy as it is, probably get rid of this knife and, you know, stabbing him in the back.
I have
So
no idea what episode features betrayal. Can't think of it.
the very first one, where Tilk's turned. They go bound to the ship, season 5.
Oh,
Yeah, and then
okay.
he goes,
Yeah,
yeah, and
mind
they're like, hey,
control. Sure.
yeah, Tilk,
Okay.
buddy. And then and he goes, oh,
Right.
no, I'm with
Okay. Yes,
Apophis. Ha ha, I tricked you.
they are technically betrayed, but not
Yeah,
with okay. That makes a lot of
yeah.
sense.
So yeah. Okay. So
That's
um,
cool.
I've only just started. That's the first episode I've looked at. I sort of haven't gone down the full episode listing and gone, that one I've got a good vision for. That one I've got a good idea for. Funnily enough, I have a really good idea for when we get up to Atlantis for one episode. I've got a real, I already, because when we were watching it, we were sort of, I think we were in season 2 and Evie and I were rewatching Atlantis at the time. And this one episode came up and
Which
I don't know
one?
if you remember, it's the one where it's late season 4 or 5 where Jennifer is on a planet on her own with those like bandits or raiders or whatever.
Okay. So
She's there to,
tracker. No, or no,
yeah,
it's the episode where it's discovered that Taylor's pregnant.
yeah. Well,
Um
she's gone there to help the
and they're
Ephesians,
lost.
and
They're gone.
they've
Yeah.
gone missing.
Missing.
Yeah,
It's the episode
yeah,
title.
yeah. But there's that like bandit raider guy with a lollipop in his mouth, and he's like hunting her, and he comes
The
around the trees with a
Bolokai.
lollipop in it.
Uh-huh.
I want to do the thing.
They stole her lollipops.
Yeah. I want to do that thing where he's got the lollipop in his mouth. I already know that's what I want to do. It's
Yeah,
just gonna, yeah.
absolutely.
It was just really funny when I saw it. I'm like, that'd be a great image.
This is cool, man. Well, I appreciate you taking so much time and showing us your process. It's frustrating when people say, well, all AI is just putting in an image and spitting out a prompt and saying, okay, that's it. It is rarely that, you
I
know.
mean, at the core, it is that, and then in some cases, yeah, that is what it is. I don't like to call myself an artist because I am really just in some cases just giving it words and it's spitting it out. But there are some cases like with that scene with the battlefield and the Star Fox ships flying overhead. I did a lot of work on that. A lot of that was me drawing, coloring in, and molding it to what I like. And then all I did is have the AI just lightly go over it to make it look like it's a part of the rest of the image. So in those cases, I am really just using it as a tool. But there are some cases where you put in a prompt, it spits out what you want, and you go perfect. But in those cases, no, I probably wasn't the artist in that case.
An artist, I would define an artist as someone who has creative intent. I would also additionally say or suggest that it's art when someone says that it is. And I stole that from a movie. Someone will put it in the chat. I don't know which one it was, but it's well-deserved title in my opinion. And the fact that you've cultivated this and discovered this part of yourself through these technologies. So
yeah, that's true.
David Hewlett certainly agreed.
That's true. Yeah, and I don't disagree. Yeah, art is art when you say it is. Yeah, I guess it's whatever definition you want to give it, I suppose. But certainly, I guess in terms of whether I would take full credit for it or not is maybe a different story. Certainly, ones where I just put in some words. No, I didn't really work on it. I'm not really going to take too much credit for that.
Yeah, where does it begin and end for sure?
Yeah, but certainly some of the ones where I've put in a lot of effort and actually, a lot of it is me having heavily edited something. Yeah, I take a lot of credit. I spent a lot of hours on it. So
I mentioned this before. I took a picture of a palm tree against a complex in Florida, which were both destroyed by Hurricane Ivan. Everything in that picture is gone. Added a watercolor filter to it in Photoshop and submitted it into my college arts competition and won. So I can point a camera and I can turn a filter on in Photoshop. Am I an artist?
Well, yeah, the majority of people would say yes. I suppose, yeah.
I mean, I dialed the filter around to make sure that I got the right watercolor amount that I wanted. But so I took a picture of my dog and used a different filter and turned him into a wood carving, like someone had taken and whittled wood away until they carved a dachshund. So I agree with you. If you're putting in a phrase and it's spitting it out and you're not doing any alterations, you're still at the same time you're still coming up with that phrase. You still had a creative approach.
Yeah, people call themselves some people will call themselves prompt engineers. Is sometimes the term that they use because they're prompting the AI. So you're engineering the prompt. And I mean, in some way, if you don't know what you're doing, with a lot of the commercially available ones, they've made it pretty easy that you can just type in what you want and it'll spit it out. But certainly for some of the older AI, like 2 years ago, not even that old, but like Stable Diffusion, you got to know what you're putting in. You got to know what words work, and it really is trial and error. And then you sort of know what words to use when you're trying to get what you're after. So I suppose in some way there is some skill there, because otherwise, you could spend hours just fiddling around typing in words, and if it wasn't a tagged word within the image set that the AI was trained on, you're not going to get what you're after. Basically.
That's it, man. Adam Cahill, thank you for being with me, sir. It means a lot to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
That was Adam Cahill, artist and Stargate fan. Thanks for tuning in on Dial the Gate, and I appreciate Adam for joining us for this episode. But before you go, if you like what you've seen in this episode, I would appreciate it if you click the like button. It makes a difference with YouTube's algorithm and will definitely help the show continue to grow its audience. Please also consider sharing this video with a Stargate friend, and if you want to get notified about future episodes, click the subscribe icon. And giving the bell icon a click will notify you if the moment of a new video drops, and you'll get my notifications of any last-minute guest changes. We have a number of different episodes coming your way for Season 4, and I really appreciate everyone who is continuing to make the show possible. My moderating team, Summer, Tracy, Jeremy, Anthony, Marcia, you guys are a big part of what allows me to continue to do the work every single day. Big thanks to Frederick Marcoux at Concepts Web for keeping the website up and running. Bryce and Eagle SG, Matt, those folks are continually helping me churn out some really cool stuff. So that's what we've got going on for you. A complete list of our episode programming is available over at dialthegate.com with pending shows that are pending a scheduled air date, and those who have confirmed already, and those that are already with their schedules ready to go. So check it out if you've got a moment at dialthegate.com. My name is David Reed for Dial the Gate, and I'll see you on the other side.